Okay, today we'll continue with understanding the enable load and including report refresh option that is available in your Power Query editor. We just take a quick look at this. This is, though it appears very insignificant, but it plays a important role, especially when you work with huge volume of the data. For demonstration purpose, I just used only two files here. And what I do is I just click on the transform data. I just go here. Okay, here there are two files here. And here, uh, okay, if you right click on these two queries, you can see something called enable load, include in report refresh. Okay, by default, these two are enabled. Okay, these two are enabled. The include in report refresh, it allows us to stop a table from refreshing when you are refreshing the entire report. For example, I just select this one. We'll start with see how this one works. I just uncheck it. When I right click on it, yes, this option got unchecked. And if I go here, and sorry, if I go here and close and apply, because even in the development environment, okay, and it's really helpful, this option. Okay, if you understand this one. For example, if I click on refresh, look here, only the foreign sales, that file got refreshed, only this file got refreshed, whereas this one is not getting refreshed. So now the question is, okay, when can I disable this one, when can I enable this one? There, this option, the for look here, the include in report refresh, here I did not uncheck this one. Okay, and the situation here is, for example, you have static tables. So usually in the real time scenario, you'll be working like this. You have something like just give me a second, somebody else. You see, you have some dimension tables, and you have some, yeah, static tables. So for some dimension tables and some tables, right, you don't need to, that will not undergo changes frequently. For example, you have a dimension called location dimension. It's a table. So you know very well, in your business you are selling only in those specific locations. Okay, you have imported that location table data from your SQL server into the Power BI desktop. You say you have used the import connection. As you aware, if you import the data from any source system, using the import connectivity mode, it requires refresh, incremental refresh, or periodical data refresh is there, so that your report will have up to date data in it, to make your report up to date, right? So the data should also be refreshed, right? So for example, you have loaded the data from an Excel file yesterday afternoon, and yesterday afternoon to today evening, whatever the data got loaded into that Excel file, if you want that data should also be made part of your Power BI desktop, you need to click on refresh. So that what will happen is the entire data will get refreshed here, so that you will get a fresh data, up to date data. You will have an up to date data in your Power BI desktop. But there are some tables that doesn't require frequent. You don't need to make the data, right, or table up to date, because it's all static tables. We know very well. Or region tables. You have something called dimension region. So let's say our company has grown up like anything. We do business across region. To manage the business logically, we divided the country, in 4 or 5 or 6 regions. Already we define the regions, everything. The dimension region table. Let's say you are doing it, only in India, okay, or USA. So you are doing business only in USA. So hence you already define the region, everything. So hence this table doesn't require a refresh. This table need not to be made up to date, or every day you don't have to make it and refresh the data. Every day you don't have to load it, right? Once you load it, that is enough. So in this case, we have used refresh. Okay, then it is fine. But there are some tables, right? The volume of the data is very high, but it is not going to get updated more frequently. Okay, so in that kind of situation, what you do is you can go for this option, the include in report refresh. You can uncheck it, so that, for example, in the real time scenario, you'll be working with let's 10 dimension tables and 2 fact tables. Let's say the fact tables, you already use the direct query mode, it is fine. But the dimension tables, a few tables you have imported it, and few tables you have um, connected with direct query mode. Got it? I just write it here so that will be understand. Let's say you have let's say 10 dimension tables are there. 10 dimension tables are there. Of the 10 dimension tables, 2 dimension tables, let's of the 10 dimension tables, 5 dimension tables, 5 dimension tables, you have used import connectivity mode. You know very well, because these the 5 dimension tables, it doesn't undergo frequent changes. Hence, you have used the import connection, and the volume of the data is okay. But okay in the sense is, I'm not saying very small. It is moderate. Okay. So in that kind of situation, you have imported it. It doesn't require daily refresh, or even weekly refresh is not required. Okay. And the remaining 5 dimension tables, it requires weekly refresh or daily refresh. Okay, so in that case, what will happen is the fact tables, you don't have to refresh it because you connected with direct query mode, because the volume of the data is very high in the fact tables. Okay, aside from the fact tables, aside from these two tables, sorry, these two tables, this is a direct query mode. Okay. This table doesn't require any refresh. So you already reporting purpose, you loaded all the 10 dimensions and 2 fact tables. You have used it here. So in this case, if you wanted to refresh, okay, let's say, I won't say, yeah. So of these 5 dimension tables, see, 5 dimension tables, we have used import. Okay. And of these 5 dimension tables, let's say 3 dimensions we have used direct connectivity mode. And 2 dimension tables, we have used, we have imported the data, but it will undergo, changes. It will undergo changes. It will undergo changes. It requires refresh. It requires, these two tables requires refresh. So this is direct. We don't have to worry. It doesn't require any refresh because it directly query from the source system. But here in this case, you have imported it. You know very well these tables will not undergo frequent changes. Okay, and these two tables requires refresh. So in that case, you just assume that these two tables require, this table is requires a refresh. This table doesn't require a refresh because this table will not undergo frequent changes. So in that kind of situation, if you go and right click on it and include in report refresh, if you uncheck this one, it will be like this. So the next one is, if you right click on it, you can see that this one, because this table undergoes changes. This one needs refresh. For example, the Excel file, yes, from yesterday afternoon to till today, the data whatever loaded, right? Let's say yesterday by 2 p.m. you loaded the data from your Excel file into this one. Okay, now after 2 p.m. to till today, till as of now, whatever the data got loaded into that Excel file, if you want it, want that also, then this file requires refresh. Where we do that, we go and do it here. We click on this one. Okay, in the report refresh. Here what we do is, look here. So now for this I disable, right? I unchecked it. When I click on refresh, only the foreign sales will get loaded. It will get refreshed with the up-to-date data. This one will not get refreshed. But here in the real time scenario, you'll be working with 0.5 million, 1 million records and all. Okay, the volume of the data is very high, and if you don't take care of this, and what will happen? Let's say you are using 12 files, it will unnecessarily refresh all the files. It takes a lot of time, and it will affect your productivity, and it will delay your report creation time. Okay, and we have another option called enable load. Okay, here I just click on here. Okay, here if I go ahead and select this option, okay, look here. If I uncheck this option also, what will happen is, look here, if I do this, it'll get the font will become italics. Okay, so if I close and apply this one, queries metadata loaded. Okay, foreign sales. Okay, and if I do refresh here, as usual, okay, here when I uncheck the enable load, right, the result provided by this query, the result provided the query are not available for your report builder. Okay, or else whatever the other queries, right, depending on this one, right, it will not be available. Okay, in the sense, let's say you have used okay, what I will do is, yeah, let's say you duplicated this query. Okay, not duplicate, reference or something like that. Okay, in that kind of situation, it will cause problem. This one will not get loaded. Okay, so the difference here is difference between the enable load and the include in data refreshes. The include in data refresh, as the name suggests, data, the report refresh. So when you uncheck this option, and if you go and refresh it in your report, it will not get refreshed. That specific file, whatever you unchecked it, right? So that query, it will not get refreshed. Whereas in the case of enable load, right, the results provided by the query are, not available for your report builder. Okay, that is the thing here. For example, if I go and close and apply, look here, only foreign sales is available. Other table was not available. See, foreign sales. 1 second, let me just go here. Okay, here I did not disable it. Okay, let me do one thing. I just enable load and then right click on only this one. Okay, and next one is I just disable enable load. But when you click on enable load, when you uncheck this one, automatically this one also will get unchecked. And what is the difference between these two? Foreign sales too. Okay, though when I click on refresh, since I unchecked the include report refresh, what happens is that it will remain static. It will not get refreshed. Okay, whereas the first query, right, it will not be available here at all. Okay, that is what we can see it here. It is not at all available here. Okay, supposing you are using two files, and then using the two files, if you merge it, after you merge it, you don't need that one. Okay, what you can do is you can uncheck the enable load, so that when you select the close and apply, it will not get refreshed unnecessarily. Okay, the real time will be working with the millions of records. In that case, unnecessarily, if it refresh everything, right, it will cause problem. Yes, Abhinaya, tell me. Yeah, you can talk now. Hello.
Sir, so it will not load in the desktop. that file if we enable the load?
Yeah. So if if you uncheck the enable load,
Okay, but it will be there in Query Editor.
yes, it will be there in Query Editor. One second. Look here. I just unchecked it. Right. It will be there in Query Editor. But if you want it back, you can check it. Okay. It will be available.
Okay.
Okay. And if you click on it, it will be close and apply. See, only
Okay.
difference, right? The key difference is once you uncheck the enable load, it will not be available in your model itself. What do you mean by model? In the report page also it is not available. Here also it is not available. Whereas if you uncheck the include report, include in report refresh, what happens is it will be available in your model, but if you click on refresh, the data will not get refreshed. That is the difference between these two. This is though it appears very simple concept, but it is very much helpful when you work with the real time scenario. You need to remember this. Okay, that's why I somehow forgot to put it in the agenda. Anyhow, hope you understood the difference between these two, right? So the enable load, it will not be, if you uncheck it, it will not be available in the model itself. So now the question is, when can I use enable? Okay, now I understood. In the case of uh, when I uncheck the include report refresh option. So what kind of scenario do I need to uncheck it? If you know very well, out of let's say 5 tables, 2 tables that doesn't require any refresh, data refresh. In that case, you can uncheck it so that it need not to refresh every time. It need not to reload the data in all the 10 or 15 files, whatever you loaded it here. Let's say you loaded 10 files here, 10 tables. All the 10 file tile, let's say each file has 1 million records. Hypothetically, let's say, if you click on refresh, all the 10 files will get refreshed and it will take a lot of time. Unnecessarily, it will take longer time. If you know very well of the 10 files, only 5 files requires refresh. Other remaining 5 files, I don't have to do anything because those 5 files, we did not make any changes. Right. So the enable load is let's say you are using it temporarily. You loaded. You remember in the merge. I just go to the other file. See, in this case, merge 1 and merge 2. Look here, I have merge 1 and merge 2. So what what this query has here? If I go and click on the source here, source I can see that what kind of join I made. Here itself we can see the table in sales fact and dim product. So these two tables joined with the common column called product ID, and the join type is inner join. Right. So now we have created this query by joining these two queries, sales fact and dim product. Okay, now we are done with this. If I just go ahead and disable this one, and if I disable this one, and you look here for your reference on the right side, you can merge 1 and merge 2. Now let's see what happens here. Close and apply. So what you can see here, merge 1 and merge 2 is still available, right? Because here for this, this query, I have used these two tables, sales fact and the dim product. And here, by my intention here is I want to join these two tables. I join these two tables. Then the joined or the joined queries output. I have it in this file. So then why I need this one again, right? I don't need this one. So in that case, merge one is more than sufficient for me. Otherwise, what will happen is unnecessarily, it will load the data here, right? It will cause confusion. So I just want to use only this one, right? These two files are temporarily we have used it. Once my joined output of this query is available here, then it is fine. Let's say I just want to see the common records between these two tables, or the common products between these two tables. If I select it and put it here, then I don't need it, right? So then what I do is I can disable it. So it will save time. Unnecessary, it will not take memory, all the things. Okay. So that is how, by disabling or unchecking these options will enable us to save our time, during report creation also. Hope you understood the difference between enable load and include and refresh. Enable load, once you uncheck it, it will not be available in the model itself. Whereas when you uncheck include and report refresh, still it will be available in your model, but you cannot refresh the file. The file whichever you unchecked it with the include and report refresh, you cannot do any refresh. Okay, you understood with this, right? The difference between